What if I told you that in a small American town, people gather every single year to throw dead fish at each other, or that there's a festival entirely dedicated to celebrating moldy cheese? Believe it or not, these are real traditions, each one stranger than the last, woven into the fabric of American culture. From coast to coast, communities have created celebrations so unusual, so wonderfully odd, that you simply have to see them to believe them. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. Welcome, curious minds, to a journey through the most delightfully bizarre corners of American history. We often think of U.S. traditions as straightforward parades on the 4th of July, Thanksgiving feasts, maybe a county fair or two, but hidden just beneath the surface lies a world of festivals and rituals that defy explanation. These aren't just quirky gatherings, they're living, breathing pieces of local lore, born from history, humor, and sometimes pure, unadulterated weirdness. They remind us that celebration isn't always about what's normal, it's about what brings people together in the most unexpected ways. In this video, we're counting down 32 of the strangest American celebrations in history. We'll explore events where participants race with coffins, worship radishes, and even pay homage to mythical beasts. Each one tells a story of a town's unique identity, a moment frozen in time, or just a really good excuse to have fun. So whether you're a history buff, a lover of the unusual, or just someone looking to be wonderfully surprised, you're in the right place. Sit back, open your mind, and let's step into a side of America you never knew existed. Our journey into the bizarre begins in the heart of Big Sky Country, where a celebration takes the concept of adventurous eating to a whole new level. Every year in the small town of Clinton, Montana, crowds gather for a festival devoted entirely to a very specific part of the animal anatomy, testicles. Formerly known as the Testicle Festival, or more affectionately, Testy Fest, this event invites the brave and the curious to sample what locals call Rocky Mountain oysters. Now, if you're picturing something from the sea, think again. These are bull testicles peeled, pounded, breaded, and deep fried to a golden crisp. The festival started back in the 1980s as a quirky fundraiser for the local fire department, a way for a tight-knit community to have a laugh and raise some money. It was born from the rough and tumble, no-nonsense spirit of ranch life, where using every part of the animal was a way of life. What began as a small town inside joke quickly exploded into a massive event, drawing thousands of people from all over the country, all eager to say they've tried this unique delicacy. The cooking methods have evolved far beyond simple frying, with chefs offering them grilled, sautéed, and even incorporated into creative dishes like testicle tacos or spicy stir-fry. But it's about so much more than just the food. The atmosphere is a full-blown party, with live music echoing through the valley, wild contests that test your courage and your stomach, and a sense of camaraderie that comes from sharing such an unusual experience. It's a place where you can let your hair down, embrace the weird, and become part of a tradition that is, without a doubt, uniquely American. From the wild, open plains of Montana, we travel high into the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to a small town with a celebration that is, quite literally, out of this world cold. In Netherlands, the past is not just preserved in history books, it's kept on ice. This is the home of Frozen Dead Guy Days, a festival that began in 2002 and revolves around a single, remarkable resident, a Norwegian man named Brito Morstel, who passed away in 1989. After his grandson attempted to have him cryogenically preserved in the hopes of future revival, Brito was eventually stored in a tough shed on a hillside overlooking the town, packed in dry ice and waiting for science to catch up. When local authorities discovered this unusual situation and realized their town bylaws had no rules against keeping a frozen grandpa in your backyard, a legend was born. Rather than shy away from their macabre claim to fame, the people of Netherlands decided to lean into it with a festival that is equal parts bizarre, hilarious, and strangely touching. The events are a spectacularly odd tribute to their icy ancestor. The main attraction is the coffin races, where teams build elaborate, coffin-shaped contraptions on skis and race them down the town's main street, with one member lying inside playing the part of the dearly departed. There's also a polar plunge, where the truly brave take a dip in a frozen lake, a frozen salmon toss that tests both aim and arm strength, and even a parade of hearses. The entire weekend is packed with live music-themed parties and a general atmosphere of cheerful morbidity. It's not about making light of death, but rather about celebrating life in all its weird and wonderful forms. The festival captures a uniquely Colorado blend of outdoor adventure, dark humor, and a fiercely independent spirit. It's a town saying, yes, we have a frozen dead guy, and we're going to throw the most unforgettable party you've ever seen in his honor. This celebration has turned a potential oddity into a point of immense local pride, drawing thousands of visitors each year who come to experience the macabre charm and the warm, welcoming community that hosts it. Leaving the icy, mountainous whimsy of Colorado behind, we now venture into the lush, rolling hills of Appalachia, where a celebration takes a famously unappetizing concept and transforms it into a genuine art form. In the small town of Marlinton, West Virginia, autumn brings with it an event that is both brilliantly clever and deeply rooted in local tradition: the West Virginia Roadkill Cook-Off. This is not, as the name might horrifyingly suggest, a contest to see who can best scrape a possum off the asphalt and onto a plate. Instead, it's a sophisticated and surprisingly gourmet culinary competition that champions a core principle of rural life: making use of what you have. The cook-off was established in the early 1990s as part of the larger Autumn Harvest Festival, a clever and humorous way to promote the region's rich tradition of hunting and wild game cooking. The organizers wanted to showcase the incredible flavors of local venison, bear, rabbit, and other game, all while poking a little fun at the stereotypes often associated with Appalachian culture. The key rule is that all meat must be donated often from local hunters, and must be an animal commonly found as roadkill, ensuring everything is fresh, ethically sourced, and perfectly safe to eat. Teams of chefs, often families or groups of friends who have been participating for decades, descend upon the festival grounds with their grills, smokers, and secret recipes. The air fills with the incredible aromas of sizzling venison sausage, slow-cooked bear stew, and fried rabbit. The competition categories go far beyond just taste, judging dishes on best presentation, where a plate of food becomes a work of art, and even most humorous entry, which encourages creative and comedic dish names that fully embrace the event's offbeat spirit. Beyond the laughter and the impressive displays of culinary skill, the Roadkill Cook-Off speaks to something much deeper within Appalachian culture. It's a celebration of self-reliance, resourcefulness, and a profound connection to the land. In a place where grocery stores might be miles away, knowing how to sustainably harvest and prepare wild game has been a way of life for generations. This event honors that heritage, turning it into a point of pride and a shared community experience. It also sparks thoughtful conversations about modern sustainability, challenging visitors to think about where their food comes from and the environmental impact of their choices. In its own uniquely West Virginian way, the cook-off is a powerful statement against waste, demonstrating how tradition and ingenuity can create something truly delicious out of the most unexpected circumstances. While the Roadkill Cook-Off in West Virginia celebrates the resourcefulness of the mountains, our next stop takes us to the high desert of western Colorado, where a small town's entire identity was shaped by a single farm animal's incredible will to live. The story begins back in September of 1945, when a farmer named Lloyd Olson set out to prepare a chicken for dinner. He swung his axe, intending to decapitate a young rooster named Mike, but the cut was imperfect, missing the jugular vein and leaving one ear and most of the brain stem intact. To everyone's utter astonishment, Mike did not die. He staggered for a moment, then got back on his feet and resumed pecking at the ground as if nothing had happened. Lloyd Olson, seeing a potential miracle, decided to care for the bird. He used an eyedropper to feed Mike a mixture of milk and water directly into his esophagus, and the chicken thrived. Mike gained weight, his crow reduced to a faint gurgle since he no longer had lungs to push air through. News of the headless wonder chicken spread like wildfire, and soon Lloyd was touring the country with Mike, displaying him at sideshows for a 25-cent admission fee. Mike was even insured by Lloyd for $10,000, a massive sum at the time, and was examined by scientists at the University of Utah who confirmed his story was genuine. For 18 months, Mike lived a bizarre and famous life, until he tragically choked to death one night in a motel room when Lloyd couldn't find the eyedropper needed to clear his esophagus. Decades later, the town of Fruita, Colorado, decided this strange slice of agricultural history was too good to forget. In 1999, they launched the Mike the Headless Chicken Festival as a way to boost local tourism and celebrate their unique claim to fame. What started as a small gathering has blossomed into a multi-day extravaganza that draws thousands of visitors each May. The festival is a masterclass in turning absurdity into community spirit, with every event lovingly themed around its headless hero. Participants can compete in the run like a headless chicken 5K race, where people dash through the streets in a wonderfully chaotic scramble. There are chicken wing eating contests that test endurance, egg tosses that require precision, and a classic car show dubbed the Peck, Cruise, and Roll. The heart of the festival, though, is the series of chicken-themed games that delight families. The Chicken Bingo is a particular highlight where a live chicken is placed on a giant bingo board, and the winning number is determined by, well, wherever the chicken decides to do its business. It's a spectacle of laughter and good-natured groans that perfectly captures the event's light-hearted spirit. The festival also features live music, a vendor market filled with local crafts, and a parade that marches proudly through downtown Fruita. More than just a quirky party, the Mike the Headless Chicken Festival is a testament to resilience and local pride. It's a town wholeheartedly embracing a story of survival against impossible odds, a tale so strange you'd never believe it if it weren't true. They've taken a moment of accidental notoriety and built around it a lasting tradition that celebrates life, community, and the sheer unpredictability of nature. If a headless chicken represents survival against the odds, our next celebration showcases humanity's drive to launch ordinary objects into the stratosphere through sheer ingenuity. Every autumn, the flat farmlands of Delaware transform into a surreal battlefield of engineering marvels for the World Championship Punkin Chunkin. This isn't a harvest festival. It's a high-stakes physics competition where the only goal is to hurtle a pumpkin through the air for a greater distance than anyone else. The event was born from a simple, quirky bet among friends in Sussex County back in 1986. The story goes that a few locals, likely enjoying the fruits of the fall harvest in their own way, began arguing over who could throw a pumpkin the farthest. This casual disagreement quickly escalated, inspiring the construction of increasingly complex contraptions to settle the score. What started as a humorous backyard challenge soon exploded into a massive annual gathering, drawing thousands of spectators and teams of brilliant amateurs and professional engineers from across the globe. The competition is divided into several classes based on the technology used to propel the pumpkin, each a testament to human creativity. The most iconic category is the trebuchet, a medieval-style siege engine reimagined with modern materials. These giant swinging arms use a massive counterweight, sometimes weighing over 10,000 pounds, to sling a pumpkin in a high, arcing flight. Then there are the air cannons, which represent the cutting edge of Punkin Chunkin technology. These massive tubes use compressed air, often stored at pressures exceeding 1,000 pounds per square inch, to fire a pumpkin with the force of a cannonball in a nearly straight line down the range. Other categories include torsion devices, which use twisted ropes or fibers to store energy, and centrifugal machines that spin the pumpkin at incredible speeds before release. The engineering challenges are immense. A pumpkin is not an aerodynamic object. It's a fragile, oddly shaped gourd that can easily disintegrate under the tremendous forces of launch. Teams spend an entire year designing, building, and testing their machines, often funded out of their own pockets and fueled by pure passion. The pursuit of distance has led to some staggering records, with the absolute record being held by an air cannon named Yankee Siege that launched a pumpkin an astonishing 4,446.33 feet. That's nearly 8/10 of a mile. The event is a spectacular display of fire and noise, with each launch met by roaring crowds and the anxious eyes of teams checking their calculations. But beyond the broken records and shattered pumpkins, Chunkin fosters an incredible sense of community and spirited camaraderie. It's a place where rocket scientists might offer advice to a team of high school students, where families camp out for the entire weekend, and where the shared language is one of trajectory, psi, and centrifugal force. It's a celebration of amateur science and hands-on problem solving, demonstrating that you don't need a corporate lab to push the boundaries of physics. You just need a pumpkin, a dream, and a willingness to fail spectacularly in front of a cheering crowd. This unique festival captures a very American spirit of invention, competition, and community, all centered on the beautifully absurd goal of throwing a vegetable as far as humanly possible. If the Chunkin is a testament to earthly engineering, our next stop asks us to look skyward and question everything we think we know about what or who might be out there. We travel now to the dusty, high desert plains of southeastern New Mexico, to the city of Roswell, a place whose name is forever synonymous with one of the world's most famous and enduring mysteries. It was here, in the summer of 1947, that something crashed on a remote ranch. The United States military initially issued a press release stating they had recovered a flying disc, only to retract the statement a day later, claiming it was merely a crashed weather balloon. This swift about-face, coupled with reports of strange debris and whispered stories of recovered alien bodies, ignited a firestorm of speculation that has burned brightly for over 75 years. The Roswell UFO Festival, established in 1996, is the city's vibrant and playful embrace of its otherworldly legacy. While the incident itself was shrouded in government secrecy for decades, the festival is anything but. It's a full-throated, joyous celebration of all things extraterrestrial, drawing tens of thousands of enthusiasts, skeptics, and curious travelers from across the planet for a multi-day event every July. The timing is no coincidence, held around the anniversary of the original incident, making the entire city feel like a living, breathing monument to the unknown. The heart of the festival is its incredible array of activities, which expertly blend conspiracy theory with community fun. The streets are filled with people in elaborate alien costumes, from classic little green men to sleek, modern gray aliens, all converging for a massive costume contest that rewards creativity and dedication. The parade is a spectacle of homemade flying saucer floats, marching bands playing sci-fi themes, and local dignitaries waving from convertibles, all cheered on by crowds of families. For those seeking a deeper dive, the festival offers a serious side with lectures and workshops from renowned ufologists, authors, and former government officials who present evidence and theories about the 1947 crash and the broader phenomenon of UFOs, or UAPs as they're now known. You can attend a panel discussing the latest declassified government footage, and then minutes later be shopping for alien-themed jewelry at a vendor's booth, a delightful contrast that defines the event's unique charm. This celebration is a powerful economic engine for Roswell, transforming a once obscure agricultural town into a must-visit destination for anyone fascinated by the possibility of intelligent life beyond Earth. Local businesses fully lean into the theme, with McDonald's shaped like a flying saucer and street lamps designed with alien head fixtures. Yet, beneath the commercial success and the playful atmosphere lies a more complex relationship with the town's identity. For many long-time residents, the festival is a source of immense pride and a clever way to control a narrative that was once seen as an embarrassing oddity. They've taken a story that could have defined them as a punchline and instead have authored their own destiny, creating a global brand built on mystery, humor, and open-mindedness. The festival doesn't demand that you believe, it simply invites you to wonder. It's a communal space where serious researchers can present their findings, families can make unforgettable memories, and everyone can share in the thrilling, universal question, are we alone in the universe? Roswell's answer, celebrated every year with green-dyed pancakes and inflatable aliens, is a resounding and hopeful probably not. While the desert skies of Roswell invite us to ponder life beyond our world, our next celebration brings us firmly back to Earth, to the rich soil of California's Central Valley, where a humble root vegetable is transformed into an object of breathtaking artistry. In the city of Oaxaca, California, a unique adaptation of a Mexican tradition takes place each December, La Noche de los Rabanos, or the Night of the Radish. This is not a farmer's market or a culinary contest. It is a full-blown art exhibition where the medium is not clay or paint, but the large, brilliantly red radish itself. The original festival has its roots, pun entirely intended, in the colonial history of Oaxaca, Mexico. Spanish monks introduced the radish to the region in the 18th century, and local farmers began carving them into intricate figures to attract customers at the Christmas market. Over generations, this clever sales tactic evolved into a formal competition, a celebration of patience, skill, and cultural pride. The Californian city of Oaxaca, with its deep ties to Mexican heritage, lovingly adopted this tradition, creating a spectacle that is both a homage to the old country and a vibrant expression of its own community spirit. The entire event revolves around the astonishing creations of the participating artists. They work with a specific type of radish, often specially grown for the event, to achieve a massive size and a shape that provides a good canvas. For weeks beforehand, these artists meticulously plan their designs, which often depict elaborate nativity scenes, intricate portraits of historical figures, or dynamic tableaus from Mexican folklore. On the day of the festival, they have just a few hours to bring their visions to life using only small knives, pins, and other delicate tools to carve, sculpt, and assemble the fragile radishes. The resulting sculptures are incredibly detailed and ephemeral. They begin to wilt and shrivel within a day, making the display a fleeting, magical sight. The radishes are judged in several categories that highlight different artistic skills, from the sheer technical complexity of the carving to the creativity of the overall concept and the storytelling power of the finished piece. More than just a quirky art show, the Night of the Radish is a profound blending of art, agriculture, and cultural heritage. It connects the modern community to its agricultural roots, celebrating the bounty of the land and the human ingenuity that can turn a simple vegetable into a masterpiece. The festival becomes a living classroom where elders pass down carving techniques to younger generations, ensuring the tradition continues. For the spectators wandering among the glowing displays of crimson sculptures, the experience is one of pure wonder. It's a powerful reminder that beauty can be found in the most unexpected places, and that cultural traditions are not static relics, but living, breathing practices that can travel and adapt, taking on new meaning in a new home while still honoring their profound origins. Transitioning from the delicate artistry of radish carving, we dive headfirst into a celebration that is all about raw athleticism, trust, and a wonderfully peculiar brand of partnership. In the lakeside town of Newry, Maine, every October, the air fills not with the scent of fall foliage, but with the sounds of grunting, laughter, and cheering crowds as couples compete in the North American Wife Carrying Championship. This is not a gentle stroll through the park. It's a grueling 278-yard obstacle course filled with mud, water hazards, and steep sand hills, all designed to test the strength, stamina, and synchronicity of each competing pair. The premise is simple, if utterly bizarre. A man must carry a woman who does not technically have to be his wife through this demanding terrain as quickly as possible. The winners take home the wife's weight in beer and 5 times her weight in cash, a prize structure that perfectly captures the event's blend of ancient tradition and modern, good-humored fun. The origins of this peculiar sport reach back centuries to Finnish folklore, with tales of a notorious robber named Roswell Ronkainen and his band of thieves. As the legend goes, these men would raid villages, stealing food and supplies, but they would also allegedly carry off women from their homes. To prove their worth to the gang, new recruits were sometimes required to demonstrate their strength and agility by completing an obstacle course while carrying a heavy sack or, in some versions of the story, a woman. Another, slightly more romantic, tale suggests the practice stemmed from a young man proving his mettle by snatching a woman from a neighboring village to make her his bride. Whatever its true origin, the tradition was formalized into a modern sporting event in Sonkajärvi, Finland, in the 1990s. The concept quickly captured the global imagination, and in 1999, a group of enthusiasts brought the tradition across the Atlantic to the Sunday River ski resort in Maine, where it has thrived ever since. The rules of the championship are a spectacle in themselves, encouraging both serious competition and playful creativity. The most common and efficient carrying method is the celebrated Estonian carry, where the woman is held upside down, her legs draped over the man's shoulders and her torso hanging down his back. This technique offers a better center of gravity for the carrier and is allegedly more comfortable for the carried, though it certainly presents a dizzying perspective. There are only a few key regulations. The carried participant must be at least 21 years of age and must weigh a minimum of 108 pounds. If she weighs less, she must carry a backpack with enough weight to meet the requirement. She must also wear a helmet, a sensible precaution given the very real risk of being dropped during a frantic dash through mud or a misstep on a log hurdle. Beyond the physical demands, the event fosters an incredible sense of camaraderie and shared absurdity. Teams train for months, developing unique strategies for tackling the course's specific challenges, from the treacherous Widowmaker hill to the cold, chest-deep water pit. The atmosphere is electric, with hundreds of spectators cheering on the couples, laughing at spectacular spills, and applauding displays of sheer determination. It's a celebration of partnership in its most literal form, highlighting the profound trust required when one person literally places their entire well-being in the hands of another. While the top finishers are serious athletes vying for the title and a chance to compete at the World Championship in Finland, the vast majority of participants are there for the sheer joy of it, dressed in outrageous costumes and prioritizing laughter over their final time. The North American Wife Carrying Championship is a perfect example of how a community can adopt a piece of global weirdness and make it its own, creating a tradition that is equal parts challenging, hilarious, and deeply human. It proves that the strongest bonds are often forged not in comfort, but in the muddiest, most unpredictable, and most wonderfully strange adventures. Leaving behind the muddy obstacle courses of Maine, we head south to the warm, coastal waters of the Florida Panhandle, where a festival pays tribute to a fish that is far more than just a hairstyle. Welcome to the Boggy Bayou Mullet Festival in Niceville, a celebration that has proudly honored the humble mullet for nearly half a century. This isn't just another seafood festival. It's a heartfelt homage to a way of life centered on a fish that has sustained communities along the Gulf Coast for generations. The event was founded in 1975 by the local Jaycees as a way to boost community spirit and raise funds for local charities. They needed a symbol, something that was utterly fundamental to the identity and economy of Boggy Bayou, and they found it in the mullet. This unassuming fish, known for its firm, oily flesh and distinctive jumping behavior, was the backbone of the local fishing industry. The festival was a way to celebrate the fishermen who risked their lives on the water and the families who relied on the sea's bounty, transforming a simple fish into an icon of local pride. The festivities are a vibrant mix of tradition, food, and pure family fun, all set against the beautiful backdrop of the bayou. The undisputed main event is the mullet toss, a competition where participants see how far they can hurl a thoroughly frozen mullet. The sight of people slinging icy fish through the air captures the event's wonderfully light-hearted spirit, a perfect blend of athleticism and absurdity. But the culinary offerings are the true star. Dozens of vendors serve up the mullet in every way imaginable. Smoked mullet dip with crackers, perfectly fried mullet fillets, mullet grilled over open flames, and even mullet gumbo. For many visitors, this is their first taste of the fish, and it's a revelation far removed from the outdated misconceptions about being overly fishy or bony. This is where the festival serves as both a celebration and an education, introducing a new generation to a classic Southern delicacy. Beyond the fish itself, the event embodies the warm, communal atmosphere of a classic Southern street fair. A massive parade winds through the streets of Niceville, featuring high school marching bands, colorful floats, and local dignitaries, all waving to crowds of cheering families. Multiple stages feature continuous live music, with local bands playing everything from country and blues to zydeco, their rhythms inviting spontaneous dancing in the streets. Arts and crafts booths line the festival grounds, showcasing the work of local artisans, while children's areas offer games, face painting, and rides. The Boggy Bayou Mullet Festival masterfully balances its core mission of honoring a maritime heritage with its role as a major social event that brings the entire community together. It's a testament to how a seemingly simple idea, throwing a party for a fish, can, over decades, become an indispensable thread in the fabric of a town's identity, preserving its past while ensuring its culture continues to thrive. Moving from the salty air of the Gulf Coast, we venture inland to a small Kentucky town whose claim to fame is not born from the sea, but delivered by the railroad. For over 6 decades, Fulton, Kentucky, has proudly held the title of the banana capital of the world, a distinction celebrated with a level of enthusiasm that has to be seen to be believed. This is the home of the International Banana Festival, a vibrant, week-long tribute to the world's most popular fruit that is equal parts historical homage and unadulterated whimsy. The festival's origins are deeply rooted in the town's unique geography and economic history. Situated directly on the state line with Tennessee, Fulton was a major hub for the Illinois Central Railroad in the mid-20th century. This was the primary route for trains carrying bananas from the port cities of New Orleans and Mobile, destined for northern markets. The trains had to stop in Fulton to change crews and engines, and during these stops, railroad workers would often toss bunches of overripe or damaged bananas to local children. This generous act made the tropical fruit a common and beloved treat in a region far from where it grew, forging an early emotional connection between the community and the yellow fruit. In 1963, local business leaders, looking for a way to boost civic pride and attract visitors, decided to formalize this connection. They launched the first Banana Festival, a clever marketing stroke that celebrated the town's role in the nation's food supply chain. What began as a small street fair has blossomed into an internationally recognized event, a spectacle of yellow that takes over the entire town. The festival is a masterclass in thematic commitment, with nearly every activity and contest somehow incorporating the banana. Culinary competitions are a central pillar, the most coveted title being the world's largest banana pudding contest. Local teams and businesses spend weeks preparing their recipes, aiming to create a confection so massive and delicious it will earn them bragging rights for the entire year. The air is thick with the sweet scent of vanilla wafers and ripe bananas, and attendees can sample this iconic southern dessert by the cupful, but the creativity doesn't stop at pudding. There are banana bread bake-offs, contests for the best banana-based appetizer, and even a hunt for the best banana recipe of any kind, which has led to surprisingly delicious innovations like banana salsa and banana barbecue sauce. The festival's parade is a rolling sea of yellow, featuring floats decorated entirely in banana themes, marching bands with banana-themed regalia, and local celebrities tossing wrapped banana candies to the crowds. For the more theatrically inclined, there is the Miss Banana Beauty pageant, where contestants showcase their talents and poise. The festival also features one of the most delightfully odd sporting events in the country, the Banana Derby. In this race, capuchin monkeys dressed in tiny jockey silks ride on the backs of sprinting dogs, steering them around a small track to the roaring approval of the audience. It's a bizarre and unforgettable highlight that perfectly captures the event's joyful, off-kilter spirit. Beyond the laughter and the themed events, the International Banana Festival serves a deeper purpose. It is a powerful engine for local tourism, drawing visitors from across the country who come to witness this unique celebration firsthand. For the residents of Fulton, it is a profound source of community pride, a time when the entire town comes together to celebrate its unique history and shared identity. The festival honors the legacy of the railroad workers and the industry that put their small town on the map, ensuring that a chapter of American logistical history is not forgotten. In a world where local traditions are often overshadowed by homogenized national culture, Fulton, Kentucky, proudly doubles down on what makes it different, throwing a party so genuinely fun and strangely specific that it becomes a testament to the power of community spirit and the unexpected joy found in celebrating something as simple as a piece of fruit. Now we leave behind the joyful whimsy of fruity festivals and travel into the harsh, sun-baked landscape of West Texas, where a celebration confronts one of humanity's oldest and most instinctive fears. Every March, the small city of Sweetwater becomes the epicenter of the world's largest rattlesnake Roundup, an event that is equal parts regional tradition, visceral spectacle, and heated controversy. This is not a whimsical fair, it's a rugged, intense gathering that draws tens of thousands of visitors to witness the capture and handling of thousands of western diamond-back rattlesnakes. The event's origins are deeply rooted in pragmatic necessity, born from the post-World War II ranching boom in the region. As ranchers expanded their operations, they increasingly came into conflict with the vast populations of rattlesnakes that inhabited the rocky crevices and prairies. A single rattlesnake bite could mean a painful death for a valuable cow or horse, and the danger for the ranchers and their families was a constant, very real threat. The Roundup began in 1958 as a concerted community effort to control the snake population, protect livestock, and make the land safer for work and recreation. Local hunters using gasoline to gently fumigate snakes from their dens, a controversial practice in itself, would gather the reptiles to be brought to the central event. Today, the Roundup is a massive undertaking run by the Sweetwater Jaycees as their primary annual fundraiser. The main attraction is the sprawling pit, where thousands of collected snakes coil and rattle, creating a mesmerizing and unnerving symphony of sound. Here, professional handlers demonstrate a breathtaking level of skill and courage, milking the snakes for their venom, which is sold for medical research, and showcasing their techniques for captivated audiences. For many attendees, this is their first opportunity to see these majestic predators up close, and the Roundup places a strong emphasis on its educational mission. Experts give detailed lectures on snake behavior, identification of different species, and crucially, how to avoid and treat snake bites, providing potentially life-saving information to those who live and work in rattlesnake country. The culinary experience is another major draw, challenging the squeamish and the curious to move beyond fear. Vendors serve up fried rattlesnake meat, which is often described as a cross between chicken and fish with a unique, delicate flavor. Beyond the food, the event has expanded into a full-blown festival with a parade, live music, a carnival, and a beauty pageant to crown the Miss Snake Charmer Queen. For the community of Sweetwater, the Roundup is a profound point of pride and a significant economic driver, bringing in vital revenue that supports local charities and civic projects. It is viewed as a celebration of West Texan resilience, a testament to the tough, pioneering spirit required to thrive in a demanding environment. However, this tradition is shrouded in growing controversy from animal welfare groups and conservation biologists. Critics argue that the methods of collection, particularly the use of gasoline, are inhumane and can damage the surrounding ecosystem and other non-target species. They also point to concerns about the long-term sustainability of such large-scale harvesting, questioning its impact on rattlesnake populations and the ecological balance they maintain as apex predators that control rodent populations. In recent years, the event has faced increasing pressure to modernize, with some other former roundups across the state switching to more environmentally friendly, educational wildlife festivals instead. The Sweetwater Rattlesnake Roundup exists at a complex crossroads, a deeply ingrained local tradition wrestling with evolving national attitudes toward wildlife conservation and animal ethics. It forces a difficult conversation about the line between pragmatic pest control and respectful coexistence, making it one of the most fascinating and contentious celebrations on our list. While the Sweetwater Roundup confronts fear on dry land, our next tradition invites participants to willingly embrace a different kind of elemental challenge, one defined not by venom, but by sheer, breathtaking cold. From the frosty shores of the Atlantic to the icy lakes of the Midwest, a truly chilling phenomenon takes place each winter, the polar bear plunge. These events see thousands of otherwise rational people sprinting into near-freezing bodies of water, often for mere seconds, all in the name of charity, camaraderie, and an unparalleled adrenaline rush. The most iconic of these is undoubtedly the Kenai Island Polar Bear Plunge in New York, which holds the distinction of being the oldest annual swim of its kind in the United States, with a continuous history stretching all the way back to 1903. The club was founded by physical culture enthusiast Bernard McFadden, a man who believed fervently in the health benefits of cold water immersion. What began as a small group of dedicated wellness pioneers has exploded into a massive public spectacle, drawing over 2,000 hardy souls to the Atlantic beaches every Sunday from November through April, with a special highlight on New Year's Day. The act itself is a primal shock to the system. Participants, often clad in nothing more than swimsuits and sometimes outrageous costumes, muster on the snowy sand as a blast of winter wind rolls off the ocean. At the signal, they charge into the waves, their shouts and screams instantly swallowed by the roar of the surf and the cold. The physiological response is immediate and intense. The body gasps for air, the heart rate skyrockets, and every instinct screams to retreat to the warmth of the shore. Yet the plungers push through, laughing through chattering teeth as they submerge themselves before sprinting back to waiting towels and warm blankets. This isn't just about a quick dip. It's a ritualistic baptism in ice, a voluntary confrontation with elemental discomfort that leaves participants feeling intensely alive and deeply connected to everyone sharing the experience. Beyond the personal challenge, these plunges have become monumental engines for community fundraising. The largest events are now meticulously organized affairs, often sponsored by law enforcement associations like the Special Olympics. The famed Plungapalooza in Maryland, for instance, has raised tens of millions of dollars for the Special Olympics by challenging participants to seek sponsorship for their frigid feet. This transforms the individual act of bravery into a collective force for good, where the momentary suffering of 1,000 people translates into year-round support for vital programs. The atmosphere at these large events is a unique blend of carnival and cause. Teams arrive in themed costumes, groups of superheroes, elaborate group outfits, or simply wearing silly hats, turning the beach into a vibrant, shivering parade. The air is filled with music, the smell of donated hot chocolate, and the encouraging cheers of spectators who wisely choose to keep their feet on solid, dry ground. The symbolism of the polar bear plunge is powerfully multifaceted. On one level, it is a pure, unadulterated test of mental fortitude, a public demonstration of courage where the only reward is the knowledge that you did it. It represents a clean, sharp break from the old year and a bold, refreshing start to the new one, washing away regrets with each freezing wave. On a deeper, communal level, it embodies the very essence of charity, the willingness to endure a measure of personal discomfort for the tangible benefit of others. It is a physical act of empathy, a shivering, shared sacrifice that forges an incredible bond among participants and between the community and the cause it supports. These icy dips are a testament to a very human desire to push limits, to defy the cozy complacency of modern life, and to find profound connection and purpose in the most unlikely of places, even if that place is the freezing ocean in the middle of January. But if you think rattlesnake roundups and polar plunges push the boundaries of tradition, wait until you get a whiff of our next celebration. It's time to travel to California's Santa Clara Valley, where the very air itself becomes a potent ingredient in a legendary culinary experience. Welcome to the Gilroy Garlic Festival, a 3-day aromatic extravaganza that transforms a humble bulb into the star of the show, proving that a festival can be as much a feast for the nose as it is for the palate. The story of this iconic event is deeply intertwined with the agricultural identity of Gilroy itself. For generations, the fertile soil and ideal climate of the region made it a powerhouse for garlic cultivation, earning it the proud and undisputed title of the garlic capital of the world. By the late 1970s, a group of visionary locals, including Ruddy Mellone, Val Phyllis, and Don Christopher, the founder of Christopher Ranch, saw an opportunity. They wanted to create a community event that would not only celebrate this pungent harvest, but also put their town on the map for something joyous and unique. In 1979, their vision became a reality with the inaugural festival, a bold experiment that would grow into a national phenomenon. The heart and soul of the festival is without a doubt the Gourmet Alley. This is where the magic happens, a vast open-air kitchen where volunteers tirelessly cook up garlic-infused feasts for the massive crowds. The centerpiece is the colossal calamari stand, where giant pans sizzle with fresh squid, but the true icons are the giant wire baskets, shaking over open flames to create the festival's signature dish, garlic bread. This isn't your average side order. This is an institution, a loaf of Italian bread absolutely slathered in a rich, parsley-flecked garlic butter that perfumes the entire fairgrounds. The volunteers, often local high school students and community members who return year after year, work with a rhythmic efficiency that is mesmerizing to watch, a well-oiled machine dedicated to the worship of the stinking rose. For the more adventurous eater, the festival is a wonderland of unexpected garlic creations. This is the place to throw your preconceptions out the window and try garlic ice cream, a surprisingly popular sweet and savory concoction that has become the festival's most famous novelty. Vendors offer everything from garlic fries and garlic stuffed mushrooms to more refined offerings like garlic shrimp scampi and even garlic chocolate. The goal is to embrace the flavor in every possible form, challenging visitors to see garlic not just as a seasoning, but as a versatile centerpiece. Beyond the endless eating, the festival is a hub of education and entertainment. The cook-off stage features celebrity chefs and local culinary experts demonstrating inventive ways to use garlic at home, while the competitive cook-off invites amateurs to vie for prizes and glory with their original garlic recipes. The economic impact of this event on Gilroy and the surrounding region is immense. At its peak, the festival drew over 100,000 visitors each year, generating millions of dollars in revenue that was funneled back into local charities and community projects through the festival's organizing foundation. For 3 days, the entire town became a tourism destination, with local hotels fully booked and businesses thriving. Tragically, the festival's history was forever marked by a shooting in 2019 that claimed the lives of 3 people and injured many others. This horrific event led to the cancellation of the festival for several years as the community grappled with grief and recovery. Its eventual return in 2022 was a powerful testament to the resilience of the Gilroy spirit, a defiant reaffirmation of community and joy in the face of tragedy. The Gilroy Garlic Festival is more than just a food fair. It is a symbol of agricultural pride, a masterclass in community organization, and a bold, unapologetic celebration of a flavor that, much like the town itself, is impossible to ignore. From the robust, garlic-scented air of Gilroy, we now journey south to the heart of Texas, where a different kind of powerful aroma fills the streets. The soul-stirring sound of trumpets, violins, and passionate vocals. In San Antonio, a city where Mexican and American cultures blend seamlessly into a vibrant tapestry, an annual celebration turns the entire downtown into a stage for one of the most spirited and soulful competitions imaginable, the Battle of the Mariachis. This is not a quiet concert or a subdued cultural display. It is a full-throttle, emotionally charged showdown where multiple mariachi bands vie for supremacy, their music serving as both a weapon and a love letter to a rich heritage. The event is the centerpiece of the city's larger fiesta Noche del Rio, but it stands on its own as a powerful testament to the living, breathing art of mariachi. To understand the battle is to understand the deep cultural roots of mariachi itself. This musical tradition originated in the western Mexican state of Jalisco in the 19th century, evolving from rural folk ensembles into the sophisticated, uniformed groups we recognize today. A traditional mariachi band, or conjunto, is a complete orchestra in itself, featuring violins that provide the melodic heart, trumpets that announce bold fanfares and emotional climaxes, and the deep, rhythmic foundations of the guitar on a large bass guitar and the vihuela, a high-pitched 5-string guitar. The singers are the soul of the performance, their voices conveying stories of love, loss, patriotism, and joy with an intensity that transcends language. This music is the soundtrack to life's most profound moments for many in the Hispanic community, played at weddings, quinceañeras, and national holidays, making it far more than entertainment. It is a vital thread in the cultural fabric. The Battle of the Mariachis harnesses this deep significance and transforms it into a thrilling spectacle. Bands from across Texas, Mexico, and beyond converge on San Antonio, each group meticulously dressed in identical, ornate traje de charro, the elaborate suits adorned with embroidery and silver buttons that are a symbol of pride and professionalism. The competition is fierce but deeply respectful, a celebration of shared tradition as much as a contest for victory. Each band takes the stage for a set amount of time, pouring their entire being into a performance designed to win over both the official judges and the roaring crowd. They play the classic standards, the rancheras and huapangos that every person in the audience knows by heart, but they also showcase their unique artistry through complex arrangements, breathtaking vocal harmonies, and the sheer, infectious energy they project from the stage. The atmosphere is electric and deeply communal, as the powerful notes of El Son de la Negra or the poignant strains of Amor Eterno wash over the audience. You see families gathered together, grandparents quietly singing along with tears in their eyes, parents teaching their children the words, and groups of friends linking arms and swaying to the rhythm. The battle fosters an incredible sense of unity and cultural pride. creating a space where Hispanic heritage is not just displayed but passionately celebrated and passed down to the next generation. For the many non-Hispanic attendees, it is an immersive and welcoming introduction to a beautiful art form, breaking down barriers through the universal language of music. The event is a loud, proud, and joyous declaration that these traditions are not relics of the past but are alive, evolving, and absolutely essential to the identity of San Antonio. It proves that the most powerful battles are not fought with weapons, but with violins, trumpets, and voices raised in harmony. But if you think the harmonious battle of mariachi is a vocal spectacle, wait until you hear the sounds that once echoed across the rural American landscape, long before telephones and radios connected us. Our journey now takes us to the quiet, agricultural fields of Spivey's Corner, North Carolina, a place that for decades was famous for producing one of the most unique and acoustically impressive contests in the world, the National Hollerin' Contest. This wasn't merely a shouting match, it was a heartfelt and skillful celebration of a nearly lost art form, a living preservation of the vocal techniques used for generations to communicate across the vast distances of farm country. The origins of hollering or field hollering are deeply rooted in the practical necessities of rural life. In the days when farms were large and neighbors were few and far between, your voice was your most important tool. A powerful, distinctive holler could carry for miles over open fields and through dense woodlands, serving as an essential lifeline and social network. There were hollers for every occasion. A specific call to let the family know it was time to come in for supper, a coded message to a neighbor that you were heading over to borrow a tool, a desperate cry for help in an emergency, or even a playful call to a sweetheart living on the next farm over. Each holler was as unique as a fingerprint, a personal signature woven from pitch, rhythm, and melody that everyone in the community could instantly recognize. The contest itself was the brilliant brainchild of two men, Erman Godwin and John Thomas, who were inspired by a simple conversation in 1969 about how this fading tradition deserved to be remembered. They decided to organize a contest to see who had the best, most authentic holler, expecting maybe a few dozen locals to show up. To their astonishment, the first event drew national media attention and thousands of spectators, transforming the tiny community of Spivey's Corner into an unlikely hub for folklore preservation for over 4 decades. The competition was divided into several distinct categories that honored the different functions of the holler. Contestants would compete in the original holler, where they demonstrated their own unique signature call. The distress holler category was one of the most dramatic, with participants recreating the urgent, piercing cries used to summon help for a fire, an injury, or a lost child. In stark contrast, the conversational holler required skill in a back-and-forth exchange, simulating a call and response between two distant properties. The final and often most popular category was the sweetest holler, a melodic and romantic call used to court a loved one from afar. Judging these performances was a serious task, overseen by a panel of local elders who had grown up with these sounds and understood their nuances. They weren't just listening for volume, they evaluated clarity, authenticity, musicality, and the sheer carrying power of the voice. The winners were hailed as local celebrities, their voices forever recorded as a priceless archive of a disappearing way of life. Beyond the main competition, the event was a full-blown old-time community festival, featuring barbecue dinners, traditional music, and square dancing. But at its heart, it was always about education and preservation. It served as a powerful oral history project, ensuring that the sounds that once defined daily life in rural America were not silenced by progress but were instead celebrated, recorded, and passed down. The National Hollerin' Contest was far more than a quirky novelty act. It was a poignant and resonant tribute to human ingenuity and community, a reminder of a time when connection was measured not in bandwidth, but in the strength and character of your own voice carried on the wind. Leaving behind the vocal echoes of North Carolina, we set sail for the lakes of Arkansas, where creativity and buoyancy are put to the ultimate test. Imagine a regatta where the vessels aren't crafted from fiberglass or oak, but from the most humble of materials, cardboard and duct tape. This is the glorious reality every October in Heber Springs, home to the World Championship Cardboard Boat Races on the shores of beautiful Spring Lake. The event began in 1986, the brainchild of the local Rotary Club, who were searching for a unique fundraiser that would capture the community's imagination. They landed on the brilliantly simple, yet incredibly challenging concept of racing boats made entirely of corrugated cardboard, with duct tape as the only permissible waterproofing agent. What started as a small, local novelty has since grown into an internationally recognized phenomenon, drawing thousands of spectators and hundreds of intrepid sailors from across the country, all eager to test their engineering mettle and their willingness to get very, very wet. The true magic of this event lies in the intense period of creation that precedes the race itself. Teams, often families, school groups, or corporate colleagues, spend weeks, sometimes months, designing their nautical masterpieces. The rules are strict. The boat must be built only from corrugated cardboard and common duct tape. No wood, no fiberglass, no plastic, no sealants or paints are allowed. This limitation forces a deep dive into the principles of naval architecture and physics. Participants must wrestle with concepts like displacement, waterline, and structural integrity, all while working with a material that is famously averse to water. The designs that emerge are a spectacular testament to human ingenuity. You see everything from sleek, mathematically precise Viking longships and intricate pirate galleons to whimsical floating cars and giant replicas of cartoon characters, each one a precarious gamble between artistic ambition and aquatic survival. Race day is a spectacle of suspense, splashes, and uproarious laughter. The atmosphere at Spring Lake is electric, with crowds lining the shore, cheering on the crews as they carry their delicate vessels to the water's edge. The races are typically a sprint across a short course, but for many boats, even that short distance is a marathon. The moment of launch is always a heart-in-your-throat experience. Some boats, engineered to perfection, slice through the water with surprising speed and grace, their crews paddling furiously toward the finish line. Many more, however, succumb to the relentless embrace of the lake in a spectacular, slow-motion failure. The sight of an elaborate Titanic replica gracefully splitting in half, or a meticulously crafted shark slowly dissolving into a sodden pulp as its crew abandons ship, is met not with disappointment but with roaring applause and sympathetic laughter. The Sink or Swim award is just as coveted as the prize for speed, celebrating the most dramatic and enthusiastic failure of the day. Beyond the sheer entertainment value, the cardboard boat races are a powerful, hands-on lesson in STEM education. School teams use the project to teach students about buoyancy, material science, and the engineering design process in a way that is infinitely more engaging than any textbook. It encourages teamwork, creative problem-solving, and resilience. After all, watching your painstakingly built boat sink on its maiden voyage is a profound lesson in learning from failure. For the community of Heber Springs, the event is a point of immense pride and a significant economic driver, bringing visitors to the area and supporting the Rotary Club's charitable endeavors throughout the year. It is a celebration that perfectly marries silly fun with serious ingenuity, proving that with a little creativity, even the most ordinary materials can be transformed into something extraordinary, if only for a few glorious, soggy minutes. The legacy of Mike the Headless Chicken extends far beyond the initial shock value of his story, evolving into a powerful and enduring symbol of resilience for the town of Fruita. His 18-month survival against all odds resonates deeply as a metaphor for perseverance, a quality the community itself has embraced in transforming a bizarre historical footnote into a cornerstone of its identity. The festival's official motto, "Never give up, keep cluckin'," perfectly captures this spirit, reminding visitors and residents alike that sheer tenacity can carry you through even the most seemingly impossible circumstances. This message is woven into every aspect of the event, from the determination displayed by participants in the 5K race to the creative persistence of local artists and vendors. Mike's tale is no longer just a weird fact. It's a foundational legend that inspires the community to punch above its weight, celebrating an underdog story in the most literal sense imaginable. This embrace of the odd has paid remarkable dividends, catapulting the Headless Chicken Festival from a quirky local gathering into a major tourist attraction that puts Fruita squarely on the map. The festival now draws an estimated 15,000 to 20,000 visitors each year, a staggering number for a town with a population of just over 13,000 people. For one weekend every May, hotel rooms for miles around are completely booked, and local campgrounds are filled to capacity with attendees eager to partake in the festivities. This influx provides a massive and vital economic boost to the entire region. Local restaurants, breweries, and shops see a dramatic surge in business, with many creating special Mike-themed menu items and merchandise specifically for the weekend. The economic impact is measured in the millions of dollars, providing a significant portion of annual revenue for many small businesses and directly supporting community initiatives funded through the festival's proceeds. The festival's organization is a point of immense local pride, run by a dedicated committee of volunteers who work year-round to top the previous year's success. Recent events have seen the introduction of new attractions that build on the core theme while expanding the festival's appeal. A dedicated chicken dance-off has become a hilarious highlight, with participants of all ages competing for glory with their best poultry-inspired moves. The wing eating contest has grown in scale, attracting competitive eaters from across the state to see who can consume the most chicken wings in a set amount of time. The Peep Chick Plunge, where hundreds of yellow marshmallow peeps are dropped from a fire truck ladder into a waiting crowd of children with nets, is a beloved and chaotic spectacle that perfectly embodies the event's family-friendly, whimsical heart. Local artisans now dominate an expanded vendor market, selling everything from handcrafted chicken-themed pottery and art to custom-made the Headless Chicken t-shirts and hats, ensuring the economic benefits stay within the community. The perspective of Fruita's residents has shifted from initial bemusement to wholehearted ownership of their famous fowl. Longtime locals who might have once viewed the story as an oddity best forgotten now speak of Mike with a fondness usually reserved for a beloved hometown hero. They proudly share the story with visitors, their narratives enriched by decades of festival lore. Newer residents often cite the festival's unique character as a key reason they were drawn to move to Fruita, valuing the creativity and strong sense of community it represents. The festival committee works closely with the city government and the local chamber of commerce, all of whom recognize the event not as a silly sideshow, but as a serious and effective tool for civic promotion and economic development. It has fostered a remarkable collaborative spirit, uniting the community around a shared, positive identity that is instantly recognizable. In a world where many small towns struggle to distinguish themselves, Fruita boldly and joyfully declares its uniqueness, proving that sometimes the most unlikely of symbols, a headless chicken with an unyielding will to live, can provide the foundation for a thriving, connected, and wonderfully resilient community. This celebration of nose-to-tail eating taps into a much broader culinary movement that has gained significant traction in recent years. As chefs and food enthusiasts increasingly champion sustainability and reducing waste, the consumption of offal, the internal organs and extremities of an animal, has moved from a necessity of frugality to a celebrated act of environmental consciousness. The Testicle Festival stands as a bold, unapologetic flagship for this trend, taking one of the most taboo cuts imaginable and transforming it into the guest of honor. Attendees aren't just there for a shock, Many are curious foodies eager to expand their palates and engage with the source of their food in a more direct and ethical way. They come to understand that if an animal is being raised for consumption, there is a responsibility to utilize as much of it as possible, honoring its life by letting nothing go to waste. This ethos resonates deeply in a world grappling with the environmental impact of industrial farming and food waste, turning a raucous party in Montana into a surprisingly potent statement on mindful eating. Yet, for all its celebration of sustainability, the festival inevitably wades into complex health and ethical debates. From a nutritional standpoint, Rocky Mountain oysters are perhaps surprisingly a lean source of protein, rich in essential nutrients like zinc and vitamin B12. Proponents argue that they are a healthier alternative to many traditional fatty cuts of meat, offering a nutrient-dense option that aligns with a whole animal philosophy. However, the method of preparation, typically deep frying, adds a layer of contradiction, cloaking this lean protein in a crispy, calorie-dense batter. This irony isn't lost on attendees or critics, who point out that the health benefits can be easily overshadowed by the festive indulgence. Furthermore, while the event promotes using a part of the animal that might otherwise be discarded, it does not inherently address the broader ethical concerns surrounding industrial meat production. The festival exists within a larger, more complicated system of animal agriculture, a tension that lingers beneath the surface of the celebration, even as it makes a valuable point about reducing waste within that system. The cultural taboos surrounding the consumption of testicles are perhaps the most significant barrier the festival cheerfully demolishes. In many Western cultures, there is a deep-seated squeamishness about eating organ meats, particularly those associated with reproduction and masculinity. The Testicle Festival confronts this discomfort head-on with a potent mix of humor and bravado, using laughter as a tool to break down inhibitions. Chefs at the event often act as both cooks and therapists, coaxing hesitant first-timers to take the plunge. Their anecdotes reveal a common pattern: initial revulsion followed by intense curiosity, then a moment of bravery, and finally, the surprised realization that the taste is actually quite mild and pleasant, often compared to fried calamari or chicken. This transformative experience is a core part of the festival's magic. It's not just about eating something unusual, but about overcoming a deep-seated cultural taboo in a supportive, communal setting. It becomes a story of personal conquest, a tale to be proudly recounted long after the last beer has been finished. Ultimately, the Testicle Festival is a fascinating microcosm of modern American food culture, where opposing ideas, tradition and trend, waste and sustainability, taboo and acceptance, clash and coalesce into something uniquely compelling. It demonstrates how a local tradition can evolve to engage with global conversations about food ethics, all while maintaining its essential character as a rowdy, good-natured party. The festival doesn't claim to have all the answers to the complex questions it raises, but it undoubtedly succeeds in getting people to talk, think, and laugh about where their food comes from, challenging them to expand their definition of what is acceptable, sustainable, and delicious. This celebration in the tiny town of Nederland, Colorado, truly transcends its own peculiar premise to become a profound reflection of America's enduring love affair with the bizarre. It taps into a collective cultural vein that runs from P.T. Barnum sideshows to modern-day reality television, a deep-seated fascination with stories that defy the ordinary and challenge our understanding of life and death itself. The media has played an indispensable role in amplifying this fascination, transforming a local oddity into an international spectacle. The festival has been featured on countless travel shows, news programs, and documentaries, each piece reveling in the delightful contradiction of a community that celebrates a cryogenically preserved grandfather with such unapologetic joy. This coverage rarely frames the event as merely macabre. Instead, it highlights the warmth, creativity, and infectious community spirit that defines the weekend, presenting it as a must-see experience for anyone seeking authentic American weirdness. The town itself leans into this image with clever marketing, ensuring that the story of Brito Morstel and the festival that bears his name continues to capture the global imagination year after year. Beneath the festive surface of costume parades and frozen salmon tosses, however, lies a more complex and quietly simmering ethical conversation about cryonics, the very practice that made the festival possible. The event, in its own wonderfully absurd way, serves as the world's most accessible and engaging primer on this controversial science. For many attendees, this is their first exposure to the concept of preserving a human body at extremely low temperatures in the hope that future medical technology might one day restore it to life. The festival doesn't preach or take a firm stance, but its very existence prompts thousands of visitors to grapple with profound questions about the nature of death, the definition of life, and the ethical implications of attempting to cheat mortality. Is cryonics a legitimate field of scientific inquiry or an expensive exercise in false hope? Does it represent a profound desire for a second chance, or does it prevent a healthy acceptance of life's natural cycle? These weighty questions float through the crisp mountain air, discussed over cups of hot cocoa by people who just moments before were watching a coffin race, creating a unique space where profound philosophical debate coexists with light-hearted fun. For those intrigued enough to experience this one-of-a-kind event firsthand, a little preparation is the key to fully embracing the chill. The first and most important tip for any prospective visitor is to dress for the weather with a strategy of layering. The Colorado mountain weather in early March is notoriously unpredictable. You could be basking in bright sunshine one moment and battling a sudden snow squall the next. Thermal underlayers, a warm insulating mid-layer, and a waterproof outer shell are absolutely essential. Sturdy, insulated waterproof boots are non-negotiable, as the festival grounds can quickly turn into a slushy, muddy terrain. Many seasoned attendees also recommend bringing hand and foot warmers to slip into your gloves and boots for extended periods standing outdoors. Beyond clothing, it's wise to book accommodations well in advance, as nearby hotels in Boulder and surrounding areas fill up quickly. Embrace the full experience by participating in the events themselves. Even if you don't sign up for the polar plunge, cheering on those who do is a rite of passage. Finally, come with an open mind and a sense of humor. This is not a polished corporate-sponsored event. It's a grassroots, community-powered celebration of the strange and wonderful. Be ready to chat with locals, make new friends in line for a quirky event, and fully immerse yourself in the joyful, slightly off-kilter atmosphere that makes Frozen Dead Guy Days the chilliest and most unforgettable party in the Rockies. While the West Virginia Roadkill Cook-Off is, on its surface, a celebration of creative cuisine and Appalachian humor, it also serves as a powerful and surprisingly nuanced platform for a much larger conversation about sustainability and our relationship with the food we eat. At its core, the event champions a profound message against waste, operating on the principle that if an animal is going to be used for food, every possible part of it should be honored and consumed. This philosophy stands in direct opposition to the modern industrial food complex, where meat is often a sanitized, plastic-wrapped product with no visible connection to the animal it came from. The cook-off deliberately strips away that disconnect, forcing participants and spectators alike to confront the origins of their meal in a respectful and resourceful manner. It makes a compelling case for utilizing every available resource, a practice that was once a necessity for survival in these mountainous regions and has now become a pointed statement on environmental responsibility in an era of excessive consumption. This celebration is deeply intertwined with the culture and ethics of hunting, which many participants view as one of the most sustainable forms of meat procurement available. For these individuals, hunting is not merely a sport but a practice of conservation and population control, ensuring that species like deer remain in balance with their ecosystem, and do not overgraze or become prone to disease from overpopulation. The venison, bear, and other game featured in the competition often come from hunters who harvest these animals legally and ethically during regulated seasons, with the meat being donated specifically for the event. Organizers and competitors argue that this represents a far more humane and environmentally conscious alternative to factory-farmed meat, where animals are raised in confined conditions. The cook-off, in their view, is an extension of that ethical harvest, a public demonstration of how to transform that meat into delicious, nourishing food for the community, ensuring that the animal's life is not taken in vain. However, the festival's very name and central theme inevitably draw sharp criticism from animal rights groups and some segments of the public. The primary concern revolves around the perceived glorification of animal death and the potential trivialization of roadkill, which opponents argue normalizes and even makes light of the countless animals killed by vehicles each year. Critics question whether the event's humorous packaging undermines its own message of respect for the animal, suggesting that the term roadkill itself is inherently disrespectful to the deceased creatures. They also point to a potential misunderstanding among outsiders. Despite the event's strict rules requiring donated, fresh game, the name alone might inadvertently encourage the dangerous and illegal practice of people actually scavenging animals from the roadside, which can pose serious health risks. In response to these criticisms, organizers and longtime participants offer a more layered perspective. They emphasize that the festival's name is intentionally ironic and attention-grabbing, a piece of Appalachian wit that shouldn't be taken literally. They stress the rigorous rules in place that guarantee all meat is sourced from reputable, inspected donors and is handled with the utmost care for food safety. For the community, the event is not a mockery of death but a celebration of life and resourcefulness. It's about taking something that is often seen as a negative, the unfortunate reality of animals killed on highways, and flipping the narrative to focus on positive solutions like reducing waste and honoring the local tradition of wild game cookery. The laughter and lightheartedness are presented not as disrespect, but as a form of cultural resilience, a way to approach serious topics with a characteristic mountain blend of practicality and humor. This complex dialogue between celebration and criticism, between tradition and modern ethics, ensures that the Roadkill Cook-Off is far more than a quirky festival. It is a living, ongoing debate about food, life, and death, playing out one deliciously inventive plate at a time. This wonderfully peculiar sport has proven its appeal is truly universal, sparking a wave of international imitation that speaks to a shared, global sense of humor and adventure. From its official World Championship roots in Sonkajärvi, Finland, the concept of wife carrying has scampered across the globe, establishing firm footholds in countries like Australia, Hong Kong, and the United Kingdom. Each of these international events adopts the core rules but often infuses them with a distinct local flavor, creating a fascinating network of sister competitions united by a common, absurd goal. The North American Championship in Maine, however, remains the largest and most iconic outside of Finland, serving as the primary qualifier for the world title and attracting the most competitive teams. This global spread demonstrates how a piece of niche folklore can be adapted and embraced by diverse cultures, all finding common ground in the challenge of carrying a partner through an obstacle course for fun and glory. The pursuit of victory in this sport has led to the development of some highly specialized and surprisingly effective team strategies. While the classic Estonian carry is the undisputed champion for speed and efficiency, innovative teams are constantly refining their approach. This goes far beyond just the carry itself. It encompasses precise footwork for navigating the muddy terrain, a shared system of communication for tackling obstacles like the log hurdles, and even synchronized breathing techniques to maintain stamina. The most serious competitors treat it like any other athletic pursuit, incorporating dedicated training regimens that include strength conditioning for the carrier and core stability exercises for the carried partner. Diet and nutrition in the weeks leading up to the event are carefully managed to optimize performance. This level of dedication transforms the event from a mere silly race into a genuine test of athletic partnership, where every second shaved off the clock is a testament to countless hours of practice and mutual trust. Perhaps the most heartwarming aspect of the entire championship are the countless stories of couples who have found that the shared challenge of training and competing has profoundly strengthened their relationship. The sport demands a level of communication and vulnerability that is rare in everyday life. You must literally place your physical safety in your partner's hands and trust they will not let you fall. This act of faith, repeated over months of training and during the intense pressure of the race itself, forges a powerful bond. Many couples report that crossing the finish line together, whether they win or simply complete the course, is an incredibly empowering and unifying experience. It becomes a metaphor for their relationship navigating obstacles, supporting each other through difficult stretches, and celebrating their joint accomplishments with mud-splattered joy. For some, it even becomes an integral part of their family tradition, with couples returning year after year to celebrate their anniversary on the course, a testament to the enduring connection they built one carry at a time. The cultural footprint of the Roswell incident extends far beyond the festival grounds, deeply embedding itself into the very DNA of modern science fiction and popular media. The core narrative of a government cover-up following a crashed extraterrestrial vessel became a foundational trope, inspiring everything from television epics like The X-Files, with its iconic tagline, "The truth is out there," to blockbuster films such as Independence Day. This persistent theme of hidden knowledge and clandestine agencies wrestling with cosmic secrets can be traced directly back to those initial, cryptic press releases from the Roswell Army Airfield in 1947. The town's imagery, particularly the wide-eyed, large-headed, gray alien, has become a universal shorthand for intelligent life from other worlds, appearing in countless movies, video games, and comic books. This symbiosis works in both directions. The festival itself often features panels and guest speakers from these very sci-fi franchises, creating a feedback loop where reality inspires fiction, which in turn amplifies the allure of the real-world location. Naturally, an event of this magnitude dedicated to such a controversial topic is a permanent battleground for passionate debate between believers and skeptics. The festival intentionally provides a platform for this clash of ideologies, making it a living forum for ufology. On one side, researchers and authors present what they consider compelling evidence, analysis of the original military documents with their puzzling inconsistencies, first-hand testimonies from those who claim to have been involved in the recovery, and later accounts from individuals who say their family members confessed to seeing strange debris or even non-human bodies. They argue that the shifting official stories, from a weather balloon to a nuclear test monitoring device, point to a deliberate and ongoing obfuscation of the truth. Skeptics, often including scientists, journalists, and professional debunkers, counter with Occam's razor. They present detailed explanations for the crash debris, linking it to then top-secret projects like Project Mogul, which used high-altitude balloons equipped with sensitive listening devices to monitor for Soviet atomic tests. They attribute the stories of alien bodies to a combination of faulty memory, conflated events from military test dummies, and the powerful influence of suggestion and pop culture over time. For attendees, navigating this intellectual minefield is part of the experience, offering a masterclass in critical thinking and the evaluation of evidence. Capitalizing on this global recognition, Roswell has masterfully transformed its entire identity into a year-round extraterrestrial tourism destination. The city fully leans into its otherworldly brand, ensuring that visitors don't have to wait for the festival to feel like they've stepped into the world's most charming alien invasion. The International UFO Museum and Research Center serves as the epicenter of this effort, offering detailed exhibits on the 1947 incident, UFO sightings throughout history, and the broader search for extraterrestrial intelligence. The city's infrastructure playfully reinforces the theme. Streetlights are crowned with alien head fixtures, and local businesses, from the flying saucer-shaped McDonald's to gift shops like Alien Zone, enthusiastically embrace the motif. Here you can purchase every conceivable piece of merchandise, from tasteful alien-themed pottery to green alien bobbleheads and t-shirts proclaiming, "I believe." This commercial embrace is not seen as selling out but as a savvy and good-humored strategy for economic survival. The revenue generated from tourism supports the local community, ensuring that a story which once brought notoriety now brings prosperity, allowing Roswell to proudly own its place as the world's most famous cosmic crossroads. The relentless pursuit of distance at the Punkin Chunkin Championship has led to some truly staggering engineering achievements that push the very limits of physics. The absolute record, a launch of nearly 8/10 of a mile, stands as a monument to human ingenuity and sheer audacity. This remarkable feat was accomplished not by a corporate lab with a massive budget, but by a dedicated team of amateur engineers and their air cannon named Yankee Siege. The process to achieve such a distance is a year-long obsession. Teams meticulously design their machines using advanced computer modeling software to simulate forces and trajectories, then spend countless weekends in workshops and empty fields, welding steel and testing hydraulic systems. The goal is to harness enough controlled energy to propel a fragile 8 to 10-pound pumpkin without instantly turning it into a cloud of orange mist upon launch. The sound of a successful firing is unforgettable, a deafening concussive boom that echoes across the flat Delaware landscape, followed by the silent, awe-inspiring arc of the pumpkin soaring into the distance, tracked by high-powered spotting scopes and GPS units to verify its historic flight. For every story of glorious victory, there are countless tales of spectacular and hilarious failure, which are just as cherished by the crowds. The fragile nature of the pumpkin itself is the great equalizer, a constant reminder that even the most perfectly engineered machine can be undone by the imperfections in a single gourd. It's not uncommon to see a massive trebuchet representing thousands of dollars and hours of labor fire its arm only to have the pumpkin explode in the sling mere feet from the machine, showering the team in a disappointing rain of pulp and seed. Air cannons can suffer catastrophic pressure valve failures with a terrifying bang, or fire a pumpkin directly into the ground just yards away, carving a deep furrow in the earth. These mishaps are met not with despair but with raucous applause and good-natured laughter from the spectators. The teams themselves often take it in stride, analyzing the failure on the spot and already planning revisions for next year's design. This embrace of failure as a fundamental part of the learning process is a core tenet of the event's philosophy, teaching resilience and the value of iterative design in the most public and memorable way possible. This hands-on, trial-by-fire environment makes Punkin Chunkin an unparalleled platform for inspiring interest in STEM fields among young people. School teams are a common and beloved sight at the competition, often sponsored by science teachers who see the event as the ultimate applied physics classroom. Students learn about concepts like projectile motion, structural integrity, pneumatic systems, and energy transfer not from a textbook, but by seeing their own creations succeed or fail in real time. The collaborative spirit is palpable, with veteran teams from major universities or engineering firms often mentoring high school groups, sharing advice on everything from weld integrity to trajectory calculations. This passing down of knowledge fosters a wonderful sense of community and ensures that the passion for engineering and problem solving is carried forward to the next generation. The event demonstrates that science isn't a sterile, abstract subject confined to a lab, but a dynamic, exciting, and sometimes messy endeavor where the most valuable lessons are often learned from a spectacular failure and the determination to try again. While the fried mullet and lively music provide the festival's heartbeat, its impact resonates far deeper, serving as a vital engine for both community and conservation. The event's enduring success is intrinsically linked to the health of the local marine ecosystem, creating a powerful incentive for organizers and attendees alike to become stewards of the bayou. A significant portion of the festival's proceeds is channeled directly back into supporting the very fishermen who are the lifeblood of the event, funding initiatives that promote sustainable fishing practices and ensure the long-term viability of the mullet population. This creates a beautiful, self-sustaining cycle where celebrating the fish directly contributes to protecting it, ensuring future generations can continue the tradition. This commitment extends into a strong educational mission, transforming the festive atmosphere into an open-air classroom on marine conservation. Throughout the grounds, interactive exhibits and booths manned by local marine biologists and conservation groups offer hands-on learning experiences for children and adults. Kids can touch tanks containing local marine life like hermit crabs and starfish, learning about the delicate balance of the estuary ecosystem that mullet call home. Experts give short, engaging talks on the importance of wetland preservation, explaining how these critical areas act as nurseries for juvenile fish and help filter water, directly impacting the quality of the seafood on everyone's plate. This seamless weaving of education into the celebration fosters a profound sense of connection and responsibility, ensuring the festival is not just about enjoying the bayou's bounty but actively participating in its preservation. Over the decades, the scope of the celebration has gracefully expanded, evolving from a focused tribute to a single fish into a comprehensive and joyous showcase of broader Gulf Coast culture. The air is perpetually filled with the sounds of zydeco, blues, and country music from multiple stages, each performance telling a story of the region's rich cultural tapestry. The food vendors, while still offering every imaginable preparation of mullet, now also serve up other Gulf Coast classics like fresh oysters, shrimp po' and crawfish etouffee, painting a more complete picture of the area's culinary heritage. Arts and crafts booths feature the work of local artisans, from fishermen who carve intricate wooden decoys to painters capturing the serene beauty of the coastal landscapes. This holistic approach has cemented the Boggy Bayou Mullet Festival as far more than a weekend event. It is the annual anchor of community identity in Niceville. It's a homecoming, a fundraiser, an environmental rallying point, and a living museum of Gulf Coast traditions all rolled into one. It demonstrates how a community can take a simple point of pride, a plentiful local fish, and build around it a multifaceted celebration that honors the past, energizes the present, and thoughtfully safeguards the future, all while throwing a party that everyone is invited to. For a town the size of Fulton, the economic windfall from the International Banana Festival is nothing short of transformational, serving as a vital annual stimulus that sustains local businesses and civic projects throughout the year. This week-long yellow wave of tourism injects millions of dollars into the local economy, with hotels and motels for 50 miles in every direction reporting complete sell-outs months in advance. Local restaurants create special banana-themed menus, shops stock every conceivable piece of banana merchandise, and gas stations see a steady stream of visitors filling up their tanks. The festival's organizing committee, run by local volunteers, channels a significant portion of the proceeds back into the community, funding scholarships for high school students, supporting public parks and libraries, and providing grants to local fire departments and other essential services. This direct financial feedback loop ensures the celebration is far more than just a party. It is a powerful economic engine that the entire region depends on, a testament to how a clever idea can blossom into a foundational pillar of civic finance. This celebration is also a living, breathing history lesson on a chapter of American commerce that many have forgotten, connecting Fulton's quirky identity directly to the nation's fruit importation pipeline. For much of the 20th century, the Illinois Central Railroad was the central artery for bananas entering the United States from tropical ports in Central America. These fast-moving banana trains were a logistical marvel, designed with specialized ventilated cars to keep the delicate, ripening fruit cool during its journey north. Fulton's geographic position made it a critical hub where crews would change and engines would be serviced, making the town a literal waypoint in the journey of a banana from a tree in Honduras to a lunchbox in Chicago. The tradition of railroad workers tossing overripe fruit to local children forged an early emotional bond between the community and this exotic import, transforming Fulton from a simple stop on a map into a place intimately connected to a global trade network. The festival preserves this legacy, honoring the railroad workers and the industry that first put Fulton on the map long before the first banana queen was ever crowned. The sheer, unadulterated joy the festival generates is most visibly embodied in its signature event, the Grand Banana Costume Parade, a spectacle of pure whimsy that turns the town's main street into a river of yellow. This is not a sedate, formal procession. It is a jubilant, community-wide explosion of creativity where participation is the entire point. Local businesses spend months constructing elaborate floats entirely out of banana-themed decorations. High school marching bands perform in custom-made banana yellow uniforms, and countless families join in the fun, with parents and children alike decked out in homemade costumes. You'll see infants dressed as tiny Chiquita bananas being pushed in strollers, groups of friends coordinating as a bunch, and even pets sporting fruity hats. The atmosphere is one of inclusive silliness, where the only requirement is to embrace the theme and share in the collective laughter. It's a powerful social leveler where bankers and farmers, teachers and mechanics all come together under the shared, hilarious banner of celebrating a piece of fruit, strengthening community bonds through the simple act of having fun. Beyond the parade, the festival's enduring magic lies in its rare, multi-generational appeal, crafting experiences that resonate equally with a 5-year-old and their grandparent. For the youngest attendees, the event is a wonderland of novel sensations, from the thrill of catching candy tossed from a passing float to the delight of tasting their first slice of banana cream pie. For teenagers, it's a major social event, a place to see friends, listen to live music, and perhaps even compete in one of the quirky contests. For adults and seniors, it serves as an annual homecoming, a cherished tradition that evokes powerful nostalgia and offers a tangible link to their own childhoods and the town's shared history. This ability to cater to every age group simultaneously is the festival's masterstroke, ensuring its continued relevance and making it a date circled on every local calendar. It functions as the town's family reunion, a time when the entire community, from the newest residents to those whose roots stretch back generations, can gather not just to celebrate a fruit, but to celebrate each other and the unique, wonderfully odd identity they all share. While the historical context of rattlesnake roundups is rooted in pragmatic pest control, a significant and growing movement is pushing these events toward a more conservation-minded future, transforming them from spectacles of collection into celebrations of education and ecological respect. This shift is largely driven by mounting pressure from herpetologists, conservation groups, and a more environmentally conscious public, who argue that the traditional model is ecologically unsustainable and fails to acknowledge the rattlesnake's vital role in a healthy ecosystem. In response, some of the oldest roundups have undergone a profound rebranding, most notably the event in San Antonio, Georgia, which changed its name to the Rattlesnake and Wildlife Festival to reflect its new, humane focus. This evolution represents a major turning point in the complex relationship between these communities and the wildlife they once solely sought to control. The most significant change in these reformed events is the complete abandonment of wild harvesting methods, particularly the controversial practice of gassing, where gasoline is used to fumigate snakes from their winter dens. Critics have long argued this technique is not only cruel to the targeted snakes, causing respiratory distress and potential long-term health issues, but also devastating to the entire underground ecosystem, poisoning the soil and killing countless non-target species like endangered amphibians, invertebrates, and other small mammals that share the habitat. In place of collection, reformed festivals now source their snakes from licensed, reputable breeders or from educational demonstrators who keep the animals in captivity year-round. This ensures a constant, healthy supply of animals for display without putting any additional pressure on wild populations, whose health and numbers are increasingly threatened by habitat loss and road mortality. Education has become the undisputed centerpiece of these modernized gatherings. Instead of a large pit of stressed, coiled snakes, visitors are more likely to encounter carefully managed educational stations where handlers, often professional biologists, safely demonstrate rattlesnake behavior, explain their incredible sensory abilities like heat-sensing pits, and detail their crucial role as apex predators in controlling rodent populations. These presentations emphasize safety and coexistence, teaching people how to identify venomous snakes, what to do if they encounter one on a hiking trail, and most importantly, how to snake-proof their properties without resorting to killing the animals. This knowledge empowers the public, replacing fear with a healthy respect and understanding, which conservationists argue is far more effective for preventing snake bites than widespread extermination campaigns. Many reformed festivals also incorporate a strong element of wildlife appreciation, expanding their focus to celebrate the entire local ecosystem. It's common to see exhibits featuring non-venomous snakes, turtles, birds of prey, and other native species, often run by local wildlife rehabilitation centers that use the platform to discuss broader environmental challenges. This holistic approach helps contextualize the rattlesnake as one important thread in a much larger ecological web, fostering a deeper appreciation for biodiversity as a whole. The economic model often shifts alongside these changes, with the festival's revenue being directed not just toward local civic groups, but also toward funding conservation research, land preservation efforts, and public education programs, creating a positive feedback loop where the celebration of wildlife directly funds its protection. This transition, however, is not without its challenges and points of contention. In communities like Sweetwater, where the Roundup is a deeply woven tradition and a major economic driver, proposals for change are often met with resistance from those who view it as an attack on local heritage and a threat to a beloved community event. Proponents of the traditional format argue that their methods are a necessary form of pest control for ranchers and that the event itself provides vital safety education. They also point to their own contributions to scientific research through venom collection for medical studies. The debate highlights a classic clash between evolving ethical standards and long-standing cultural practices, a difficult negotiation between conservation science and community identity that continues to play out in towns across the country. The ongoing evolution of these events demonstrates a slow but unmistakable trend toward a more ethical and ecologically responsible model, proving that even the most entrenched traditions can adapt to foster a new kind of respect for the wild creatures we share the land with. This remarkable transformation of a personal dare into a powerful force for good is perhaps the most compelling aspect of the modern polar bear plunge. While the Kenai Island event maintains its historic charm, many of the largest plunges today are meticulously organized fundraisers, often spearheaded by law enforcement organizations who have harnessed this icy spectacle as an unparalleled tool for community giving. The single biggest event of its kind, Maryland's famed Plungapalooza, has become a monumental engine for the Special Olympics, raising a staggering tens of millions of dollars over its history. This incredible sum directly funds year-round sports training and competition for children and adults with intellectual disabilities, transforming a moment of cold into a lifetime of opportunity. The fundraising model is brilliantly simple yet profoundly effective. Participants are challenged to seek sponsorships from friends, family, and colleagues for their act of frozen bravery. This turns an individual's willingness to endure brief discomfort into a collective effort, where every shiver and every scream is amplified into tangible financial support for a vital cause. The atmosphere at these massive charity plunges is electric with purpose. It's not just about the thrill, but about the shared mission that unites thousands of strangers on a freezing beach. You see teams from local businesses, groups of first responders in full gear, and families plunging in memory of a loved one, all wearing custom shirts declaring their fundraising goals and their reasons for taking the dip. This communal aspect elevates the plunge from a simple stunt to a physical act of empathy, a shivering, shared sacrifice that forges an incredible bond between the participants and the cause they support. Behind every single person who charges into that frigid water is a story, and for many, it's a narrative of conquering deep-seated fear. The decision to participate is often a significant personal hurdle, a commitment made weeks in advance that looms larger as the calendar turns to January. For some, the fear is a primal dread of the cold itself, the body's instinctive recoil from a shock it is not designed to endure. For others, it's a social anxiety, a fear of looking foolish in front of a massive crowd. And then there are those who use the plunge as a symbolic act, a way to physically overpower a much larger fear they are facing in their personal lives, be it a health diagnosis, a personal loss, or a period of profound uncertainty. The moments on the sand before the starting signal are filled with a palpable mix of nervous laughter, anxious pacing, and last-minute pep talks. The shared vulnerability among the crowd is a powerful unifier. Strangers become instant comrades, offering encouraging words and high fives. The act of running in together creates a wave of collective courage that makes the impossible seem manageable. The euphoric rush that follows the sprint back to dry land is about more than just the endorphins. It's the triumphant glow of having stared down a fear and emerged victorious, surrounded by a community of people who did the exact same thing. This transformative experience, repeated by thousands of people simultaneously, creates a powerful current of positive energy and mutual support that defines the day. What began as the pursuit of a health fad or a quirky personal challenge has, in countless towns and cities, solidified into an iconic winter tradition, a fixed point on the calendar that communities eagerly anticipate. These plunges have become the defining winter event for many coastal and lakeside towns, a much-needed tourist attraction during the quietest season. They provide a powerful narrative of resilience, a declaration that winter will not force a retreat indoors but will instead be met head-on with activity, laughter, and purpose. The events are meticulously woven into the local fabric, often kicking off a year of civic engagement and setting a tone of cheerful determination. Local businesses fully embrace the tradition, with bars and restaurants hosting warm-up parties, shops selling official plunge merchandise, and hotels offering special packages for out-of-town participants. The Plunge Parade, a feature of many larger events, showcases local high school bands, community groups, and dignitaries, reinforcing the event's role as a point of civic pride. For families, it can become a multi-generational ritual. Parents who plunged in their 20s now watch their teenage children continue the tradition, creating a unique and chilly family legacy. This evolution from fringe activity to mainstream tradition demonstrates a universal human desire to find connection and meaning in the most challenging of circumstances, to create light in the darkest and coldest time of the year. The polar bear plunge, in all its shivering, breathless glory, is a testament to the fact that the most enduring traditions are not always about comfort and warmth, but about the unforgettable bonds forged in the shared experience of feeling intensely, joyfully alive. This vibrant celebration of community and cuisine was forever changed on the final day of the festival in 2019, when a lone gunman opened fire on the crowded festival grounds. In a matter of minutes, a day dedicated to joy and togetherness was shattered by unimaginable violence, resulting in the deaths of 3 innocent people and injuring 17 others. The victims were not strangers, they were members of the extended Gilroy family. 6-year-old Stephen Romero, 13-year-old Keila Salazar, and 25-year-old Trevor Irby were there to enjoy the very traditions that had defined their community for generations. The sudden, brutal intrusion of this tragedy into a place of such warmth and celebration sent shockwaves far beyond the city limits, triggering a nationwide conversation about public safety at large-scale events and leaving a permanent scar on the heart of every person who had ever volunteered at, attended, or simply loved the Gilroy Garlic Festival. In the immediate, horrifying aftermath, the community's response became a powerful testament to the very resilience the festival had always represented. First responders, including festival security and local police, acted with incredible bravery, engaging the shooter and ending the threat within a minute, preventing an even greater loss of life. In the days and weeks that followed, a profound sense of collective grief blanketed Gilroy. Makeshift memorials of flowers, candles, and handwritten notes sprang up at the festival grounds and throughout the city, serving as places for people to mourn, to reflect, and to begin the slow, painful process of healing. Vigils brought thousands of residents together, not in fear but in solidarity, their shared tears a testament to the bonds that the festival itself had helped forge over 4 decades. The organization's decision to cancel the following year's event was met with universal understanding. It was a necessary period of mourning, a time to tend to the deep wounds and support the victims' families and the survivors grappling with physical and emotional trauma. The journey to rebuild was not a foregone conclusion. There were difficult, soul-searching conversations about whether the festival could or should ever return. The challenges were immense, encompassing the daunting task of ensuring future safety without sacrificing the event's open, welcoming atmosphere and the emotional hurdle of asking a traumatized community to once again gather en masse. Ultimately, the decision to move forward was rooted in a defiant belief that to cancel the festival permanently would be to allow darkness to extinguish a beloved source of light. The return in 2022 was therefore about much more than garlic. It was a deliberate act of reclamation. It was the community standing together to say that their tradition, their unity, and their joy would not be defined by a single act of violence. This commitment to a safe return necessitated a complete reimagining of the festival's security footprint. Organizers worked in close partnership with local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to design a comprehensive safety plan that was both visible and discreet. The revamped event featured controlled entry points with mandatory bag checks and metal detectors, a significant increase in uniformed and plainclothes security personnel throughout the grounds, and the strategic use of fencing to create a secure perimeter. These necessary measures, while altering the casual feel of earlier years, were implemented with a focus on respect and efficiency, and were widely accepted by attendees as the new reality. The goal was not to create a fortress, but a protected space where the community could cautiously rediscover its celebratory spirit. At its heart, the Reborn Festival remains an unwavering tribute to its culinary roots and the community volunteers who are its lifeblood. The sizzling grills of Gourmet Alley still fire up, filling the air with that iconic, garlic-infused aroma. Volunteers, many of whom are second or even third generation, still don their aprons to butter countless loaves of bread, their service now imbued with a deeper sense of purpose and dedication. The event has intentionally amplified its role as a philanthropic engine, with a renewed focus on supporting local charities and establishing permanent memorials to honor the victims. The festival now stands as a dual symbol, a celebration of Gilroy's agricultural heritage and a powerful, enduring monument to its collective strength. It proves that even when faced with the deepest adversity, a community bound by tradition and mutual care can find a way to heal, to remember, and to cautiously, courageously celebrate once more. Perhaps most importantly, the Battle of the Mariachis functions as a vibrant, living classroom, ensuring this centuries-old art form is not preserved under glass but is actively passed down to younger generations. It's common to see master musicians, their faces etched with experience, standing shoulder to shoulder with teenagers, offering gentle corrections on fingering techniques or sharing the subtle emotional inflections needed to properly convey the heartache in a classic canción. Many of the competing bands are actually youth mariachi groups from local high schools and cultural centers, their participation representing the culmination of months of rigorous training. For these young artists, the festival is not just a competition. It is a rite of passage, a chance to perform on a major stage in front of esteemed masters and a knowledgeable audience that includes their proud families. This intergenerational exchange is the lifeblood of cultural preservation, transforming the event from a simple performance into a powerful continuum where respect for tradition and the energy of youth merge to create something both timeless and new. The festival consciously nurtures this by offering workshops and clinics in the days leading up to the battle, where anyone, from curious beginners to advanced players, can learn the intricate rhythms and vocal styles that define authentic mariachi. This dedication to preservation does not mean the art form is frozen in time. A fascinating and essential evolution is on full display at the battle, as contemporary bands expertly weave modern influences into the traditional framework. It's not uncommon to hear a classic ranchera suddenly incorporate a complex jazz chord progression from the guitars or a syncopated rhythm that hints at modern pop or rock. Some groups experiment with blending mariachi with other regional Mexican styles like banda or norteño, creating a rich, hybrid sound that reflects the diverse musical tastes of a modern Latino audience. The subject matter of new compositions is also evolving, with younger musicians writing songs that speak to contemporary experiences of immigration, cultural duality, and life in the United States, all while using the traditional instruments and structures of mariachi. This innovative spirit is not seen as a dilution of the tradition, but as a sign of its robust health and relevance. The festival's judges often have a category for musical innovation, rewarding bands that honor the past while boldly pushing the boundaries of what mariachi can be. This delicate balance between authenticity and evolution ensures the music remains a dynamic, living art form that can speak to the grandparents who remember the old country and the grandchildren who are growing up with one foot in two cultures. Ultimately, the Battle of the Mariachis is a powerful, unapologetic expression of Latino identity and pride within the American cultural landscape. In a political and social climate where Hispanic heritage can sometimes be met with tension or misunderstanding, the festival serves as a joyous and defiant declaration of presence and contribution. The music itself is a narrative of that identity, songs of struggle and triumph, of love for the homeland and the challenges of building a new life. When thousands of people in the audience, many of them second or third generation Americans, sing along at the top of their lungs to every word of Cielito Lindo or El Rey, they are participating in a powerful act of cultural affirmation. They are connecting with their roots, reinforcing a sense of belonging, and sharing the very best of their heritage with the wider community in an accessible, celebratory way. The event loudly proclaims that Latino culture is not a monolith but a vibrant, diverse tapestry, and that mariachi, with its combination of indigenous, European, and African influences, is a perfect symbol of that beautiful complexity. It stands as a monumental achievement of artistic excellence, demonstrating the incredible discipline, skill, and passion required to master this demanding musical form, right in the heart of downtown San Antonio. Recognizing the urgent need to preserve these vanishing vocal signatures before they were lost to time, organizers and folklorists embarked on a critical mission to archive the art of hollering for future generations. This wasn't just about recording sounds, it was about capturing a piece of intangible cultural heritage, a living audio fossil of pre-industrial American life. They began systematically recording the contest winners and elder hollerers, those men and women whose voices carried the most authentic tones of a passing era. These recordings were meticulously catalogued with detailed notes on the specific purpose of each call, the family it came from, and the area of the country it represented. These precious archives, once stored on fragile reel-to-reel tapes and cassettes, have now been carefully digitized, ensuring that the distress holler of an Appalachian farmer or the supper call of a Texas rancher won't be silenced by technological obsolescence. These digital files now reside in esteemed institutions like the Library of Congress's American Folklife Center and university libraries across the South, transforming them from local curiosities into a nationally recognized academic resource for linguists, historians, and ethnomusicologists studying the evolution of American communication. The contest's influence has rippled outward, inspiring a modern wave of events dedicated to preserving other historical and endangered communication methods, creating a whole new genre of living history festivals. The success of Spivey's Corner demonstrated a public appetite for these unique, acoustic glimpses into the past, encouraging other communities to explore their own sonic heritage. In places like the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, park rangers now demonstrate yodeling or calling, as it was used by early settlers to communicate across steep, fog-shrouded valleys. In maritime communities along the New England coast, festivals have emerged that focus on the almost lost art of the sea shanty, those rhythmic work songs used to synchronize labor on tall ships, which served a very similar communal and functional purpose as field hollering. Even the distinct melodic language of Louisiana Cajun French, once discouraged and now celebrated, is kept alive through music festivals and spoken word events that share the same core mission as the Hollerin' contest, to ensure that the unique sounds of a culture do not fade into silence. This movement validates the idea that our auditory history is just as worthy of preservation as our physical artifacts. Modern technology has ironically become the greatest ally in this mission to save these oldest of sounds. While the telephone rendered the practical need for hollering obsolete, the internet and digital media have given its cultural legacy a powerful new platform. Clips from the historic National Hollerin' Contest now live on YouTube and social media, where they garner millions of views from fascinated viewers around the world who might never have otherwise encountered this art form. Podcasts dedicated to American history and folklore frequently feature segments on hollering, playing the archived recordings and interviewing experts. This digital resurrection has sparked a curious revival among a new generation, including musicians and sound artists who sample these field recordings into electronic music, blending the primal urgency of the past with the synthesized sounds of the present. This ensures the spirit of the holler evolves, finding new relevance and meaning rather than being relegated to a sterile museum exhibit. The ultimate legacy of the National Hollerin' Contest is its profound testament to the human voice itself as our original, most powerful tool for connection. In an age of instant digital messaging and global satellite communication, the simple, raw power of an unamplified voice carrying across a physical distance holds a deeply romantic and almost mythic quality. The contest was a beautiful, noisy rebellion against the quiet erosion of local culture, a declaration that some traditions are worth saving not for their utility but for their soul. It celebrated the incredible versatility and uniqueness of the human instrument, reminding us that before we had emojis or acronyms, we had inflection, rhythm, and lung power to convey our most urgent needs and our deepest emotions. Though the final official contest was held in 2016, its echo is far from gone. It lives on in every effort to digitize a vanishing dialect, in every festival that teaches children a forgotten work song, and in the understanding that sometimes the most advanced technology we have for truly connecting with each other is the one we were born with. Perhaps the most inspiring aspect of the cardboard boat races is how it has been wholeheartedly embraced by educators as the ultimate hands-on classroom. School districts across the region have integrated the project into their science and technology curriculums, recognizing its unparalleled power to bring abstract principles of physics and engineering to life. Months before the event, classrooms buzz with activity as student teams transform into fledgling naval architecture firms. They aren't just building boats, they are conducting experiments in buoyancy, calculating displacement, and studying the properties of their unconventional materials. The simple corrugated cardboard becomes a lesson in structural integrity, forcing students to think about load distribution, ribbing, and bracing to prevent their vessel from folding in half the moment it touches the water. The single roll of allowed duct tape introduces concepts of waterproofing and hydrodynamics, challenging them to create seams and seals that can withstand the relentless pressure of the lake. This is project-based learning at its absolute finest, where failure is not just an option but an expected and invaluable part of the process. The lessons learned when a carefully designed hull suddenly becomes a sodden, sinking mass are often far more impactful and memorable than any lecture on Archimedes' principle could ever be. The event itself is a spectacular showcase of youthful imagination and ingenuity, where the only limit is the size of a cardboard sheet. Over the years, the launch area at Spring Lake has seen an incredible parade of floating fantasies brought to life. Students have crafted elaborate replicas of historic vessels like the Titanic and Spanish galleons, complete with detailed cardboard cannons and portholes. Pop culture provides endless inspiration, with boats shaped like pirate ships from movies, the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo, and even a remarkably detailed, life-size DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future. The sheer creativity on display is a testament to the event's encouragement of artistic expression alongside technical skill. One of the most memorable entries in recent years was a massive, fully articulated cardboard dragon, with a head that moved and a tail that whipped behind it as the crew paddled frantically. While its seaworthiness was questionable, it listed dramatically and sank with glorious pageantry. Within 30 seconds, its artistic ambition earned a roaring ovation from the crowd and a special judges' award for creativity. These whimsical designs are a crucial part of the event's charm, proving that engineering and art are not mutually exclusive but are powerful allies in the pursuit of something truly extraordinary. For the young participants, the experience is about far more than just a grade or a trophy. It's a profound lesson in teamwork, resilience, and the iterative nature of design. The process demands constant collaboration, as team members must listen to each other's ideas, delegate tasks based on individual strengths, and solve problems together when their initial plans inevitably hit a snag. The emotional journey is just as important as the academic one. There is the initial excitement of the design phase, the frustration when a glue joint fails or a structural weakness is discovered, the intense focus of race day, and finally, the collective euphoria of a successful launch or the shared laughter and camaraderie that comes from a spectacular, splashy failure. Coaches and teachers often report that students who might struggle in a traditional classroom setting frequently emerge as leaders during this project, demonstrating a natural aptitude for spatial reasoning and practical problem solving that might otherwise go unrecognized. The race teaches them that setbacks are not in points but simply data points, information to be analyzed and used to build something better and stronger next time. It's a masterclass in grit, fostering a growth mindset that will benefit them long after the last piece of soggy cardboard has been hauled from the water. While the traditional nativity scenes and folkloric figures remain beloved staples, a new wave of artists at La Noche de los Rabanos is boldly pushing the medium into the realm of contemporary art, using the humble root vegetable to comment on modern themes. These visionary carvers see the radish not just as a canvas for cultural preservation, but as a potent, albeit ephemeral, medium for social and political expression. In recent competitions, attendees have witnessed astonishingly detailed carvings that depict everything from poignant scenes of migrant journeys to intricate portraits of modern cultural icons, all rendered in the deep crimson flesh of the radish. This artistic evolution requires an even more delicate touch. Where traditional designs might rely on robust, deep cuts, these modern pieces often employ techniques more akin to lace making, using pins and fine blades to create fragile, almost translucent layers that capture light and shadow with breathtaking effect. This shift has sparked fascinating dialogues within the artist community, balancing a deep respect for tradition with a passionate drive to ensure the art form remains dynamic, relevant, and reflective of the current times, proving that even the most ancient of practices can have a powerful and contemporary voice. This artistic innovation is intrinsically linked to the festival's profound role as a catalyst for cross-cultural exchange, creating a vibrant meeting point where Mexican heritage and the American experience beautifully converge. The event draws master carvers directly from Oaxaca, Mexico, who make the journey to California to demonstrate techniques passed down through their families for generations. Their presence is a living bridge, offering first-generation Mexican Americans a tangible, visceral connection to the artistry of their ancestral homeland. For non-Hispanic attendees, these demonstrations are a captivating and accessible introduction to the richness of Oaxacan culture, moving beyond stereotypes to showcase a specific, awe-inspiring tradition. The festival grounds become a bustling marketplace of ideas and techniques, where these visiting masters work alongside local Chicano artists, who often blend classic Oaxacan motifs with symbols and stories drawn from their own lives growing up in California. The resulting pieces are a stunning visual representation of this cultural fusion. A Virgin of Guadalupe might be depicted alongside imagery from the Central Valley's agricultural fields, or a classic Zapotec pattern might be interwoven with elements of lowrider car culture. This isn't a dilution of tradition, but an organic and powerful evolution, a testament to how cultural practices naturally adapt and flourish in a new soil, creating something uniquely beautiful that honors both its origins and its new home. The growing popularity of this unique December event underscores a broader public yearning for authentic, hands-on cultural experiences that blend art, agriculture, and community in a single, sensory-rich package. It has successfully carved out a niche on the national calendar, attracting art lovers, foodies, and curious travelers from across the country who are seeking an alternative to the commercial frenzy of the holiday season. They aren't just passive observers, they become active participants in a living ritual. The festival's atmosphere encourages this deep engagement, with workshops where children and adults can try their hand at basic carving under the guidance of experienced artists, fostering a real appreciation for the skill and patience required. Local farmers' markets see a surge in demand for the large, specially grown radishes in the weeks leading up to the event, as people are inspired to experiment in their own kitchens. This grassroots enthusiasm has elevated the festival from a local curiosity to a significant destination event, generating substantial economic benefits for Oaxaca and helping to support the local artists and farmers who are the true heart of the celebration, ensuring this delicate art form continues to thrive and find new audiences for generations to come. And so our whirlwind tour of American eccentricity comes to a close. 32 celebrations that prove normal is vastly overrated. From the frozen altitudes of Colorado honoring a cryogenically preserved grandfather to the sun-drenched bayous of Florida paying tribute to a humble fish, we've witnessed a nation that thrives on the bizarre, the creative, and the wonderfully unconventional. These events are far more than just parties. They are living, breathing expressions of local identity, each one a unique thread in the vast and diverse tapestry of American culture. They remind us that history isn't just found in textbooks. It's carved into giant radishes, shouted across fields, and raced in cardboard boats. They showcase a national spirit that refuses to take itself too seriously, finding joy in the peculiar and pride in the unexpected. These gatherings are testaments to resilience, like Gilroy's defiant return to its garlic-soaked roots, and to innovation, seen in the physics-defying Punkin launches in Delaware. They are celebrations of heritage, like the Mariachi battles in San Antonio, and of community, like the tiny town in Kentucky that built a worldwide reputation on a piece of fruit tossed from a train. What unites them all is a shared understanding that the best way to build a lasting tradition is to embrace what makes your community uniquely, authentically, and sometimes bizarrely itself. This is just a glimpse into the incredible weirdness waiting to be discovered from coast to coast. The true magic of these celebrations lies in their endless variety and the stories yet to be told. Now we want to hear from you. What are the most unusual local festivals in your corner of the world? Is there a quirky tradition your town is known for that deserves a spot on this list? Share your own favorite weird and wonderful celebrations in the comments below. We're always looking for new adventures to add to our must-see list. Your suggestion might just inspire someone's next road trip into the wonderfully strange heart of America. If you enjoyed this journey into the nation's most offbeat gatherings and want to explore more fascinating insights into the hidden corners of American culture, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for joining us, and remember, always keep an eye out for the unusual, because you never know what incredible celebration might be happening just down the road.